What's up, everybody? It's your man Lance. Welcome back to another episode of Digital Swag. Well, today we're going to have a little bit of Thanksgiving fun by making a Digital Swag Thanksgiving digital e-card. So let's get into it. I've already got my color palette selected here. So what we'll do is we'll double click the lock to unlock it. Click OK. And you're going to click on your foreground color and just select the color. Now, if you want to follow along, the colors are listed here. So just hit that pause button and copy that color down and continue along. So now that that color is selected, we're going to hit Alt Delete to fill that background color. And of course, it should disappear on your color screen. All right, the first thing we're going to do is make another layer on top of that layer. And what we're going to do here is fill that color in again. So hit Alt Delete. One more, whoops, wrong color. Alt Delete, I hit Control Delete. That's what happened. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually, so we don't confuse ourselves, we're going to change this background color. Let's change this background color to how about we change it to white? So hit D and then X. That changes your foreground and background color, and we'll hit Alt Delete to change that to white. You can't see it, but if you click off the eyeball, you'll see it. What we're going to do next is you're going to hit your eraser and then right click on the actual canvas to make sure your brush is hard. A hard round brush is what you want selected. Okay, to increase the brush size, hit your right bracket key. And we're going to go to about there. That should be a good size. And then you're just going to click it right in the center. Try and get everything lined up. And then one click should do it. Good. And now the white pops through. That's what we want. All right. Now we're going to click on the white layer and then click on another layer to add an additional layer. Now this is where the fun begins. What we're going to do now is click B for brush and then right click it to make sure the hard brush is still selected. Click off on the panel up here. We're going to make that brush a little bigger by hitting that right bracket key. And I would say right about there should do it. So what we're going to do is now we're going to hit the foreground color and then we're going to choose this brown color next. Click OK. And then we're going to click right about here. Good. Very good. All right. Next, what we'll do is let's make the whole head first and then we'll move on. Next, we're going to make the eyes. So click back on the foreground color, select your yellow, click OK. And let's make the eyes about this big. So that should be about right about here. I would say one there. Let's make another one about here. Good. Now we're going to select white. So just hit D on your keyboard and then hit X. And then we're going to make the circles a little bit smaller. And then we're going to just put one here. And then we'll put another one right about there. And then hit X on your keyboard again. And then we're going to make the pupils now. So we're going to make this a little bit smaller, and we're going to put a dot right about here, and then another one right about there. All right, it's coming to life now. Now let's make the neck and the rest of the body. So we got this all on one layer. That was fairly easy. So now we're going to make the neck. So let's come up here to your pen tool, or you can just hit P on your keyboard. Make a point. And then we're going to come down about here, past the orange, make a point and pull. Good. Nice and simple. Hit Alt and then bring that point right here and let go and click again. Come back up here on the other side, drag it on in. Right about there, I would say, till it looks about even. Hit Alt again and drag it over here, and then when you see that little circle, go ahead and click it, close it out, and then we're going to hit the selection. Make sure feather radius is at 0, click OK, and then we're going to select the brown color that we had before up here, click OK, and then fill that in. Okay, that looks good. Now for the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this layer by hitting Control J. Now the top layer, we're going to change its color. So what we're going to do is Control click, and then we're going to hit the foreground color and then select the color here. Click OK, and then Alt Delete to fill that in. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is hit Control D to deselect. Okay, now we're going to make decorative ribbons for his neck. So hit P for the pen tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to come here, right next to his neck, right about here, and make a point right about there. And then just go up, hit Alt, and then drag that point right back down onto the anchor point. And then click on it. And then we're going to come right about here and do the same thing. Good. Hit Alt, bring that point right back down to the anchor point. And then let's make one more right about here, I guess. And drag that one down right about there. That looks good. And then let's just go ahead and close that out. Right click, make selection, feather at 0, click OK, and then hit delete. And then Control D to deselect. Okay, that looks good. All right, next let's finish up the face. So let's come up here on top of the face layer. So let's start labeling these so we don't get ourselves confused. Let's call this one face. And we'll call this one, let's combine these two. So we're going to click on the neck layer and then the ribbon layer by hitting Shift, and it'll highlight those two, and right click, and we're going to merge layers. Now they're on one separate layer, and we'll call this neck. Oops, I hit the caps. Okay, now click on the face layer and then go down and hit new layer. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make the beak and the little red piece that's on the side of the beak. So what we'll do is, the pen tool is already selected. We're going to start it here at the bottom, make one point, come up here to the top, probably like over here to the side, and just kind of angle it a little bit, nothing too crazy, and then come over here to the side and angle it a little bit. Good, and then bring it down, and then just, that looks pretty good. All right, and then we're going to hit selection, feather at 0, hit our foreground color. Let's pick the yellow for the beak, click OK, and Alt Delete to fill that in, and then Control D to deselect. That looks pretty good, a little bit off. Let's see if we can get a little bit better. So what we'll do is make a point there, and then we'll just drag that around, take a little bit off, right click, make selection, feather at 0, and hit delete, Control D to deselect. That looks a little better, and you can play around with it until you get it the way you like it. Now what we're going to do, we're going to call that one beak, and we're going to hit Control J, and then we're going to call this one the giblet. I don't know what it's called, but we'll call it a giblet. Okay, so we got our giblet. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and control click the giblet, hit our foreground color, click on the red, click OK. That's my dog Maximus. Maximus Cerilius Decimus Bartholomew Jenkins Jr. the Third. I kid you not. Okay, so we're going to hit Alt Delete to fill that in. Hit Control D to deselect. Now we're going to hit Control T. And now what you want to do is go to one of the corners until you get the double curved arrows and just flip it upside down. Right about there. And then we're going to bring it down right about there. And then let's resize it to make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't look like it's a abomination. Right about there. Maybe we may need to make it a little bit bigger. Whoops. Make sure you hit V for your move tool. And then hit Control T and just get that point to line up. Click OK. And we may have to bring the giblet underneath the beak layer. And then now we can slide it over by hitting your arrow keys. And just drag it down a little bit. Let it hang past the beak. Yeah, there we go. I'm liking it. Always save your work. You can always hit Control S to save. All right, next, let's make the hat. So on top of the beak layer, we're going to make another layer. Let's go to our elliptical tool, our elliptical marquee tool, and we're going to make a shape. Let's see. How do we want to do this? So from here to about here, what we're going to do is make the shape, and then we'll make the shape over this part of the head, but we're going to rearrange the hat. So we don't want it to be too tall. We just want to give it a nice slender profile. So, and we can always play around with it. And then on your keyboard, hit D, and then Alt Delete to fill that in. Control D to deselect, and then Control T. And then we're going to turn this bad boy to the side and bring it over. And let's do this. Hit the check mark. Hit V. And let's see. That looks a little bit off. That doesn't look. Let's do it this way. Control T. Just trying to get it lined up just right. There we go. I think that's a little better. Now we can bring it up. And we're going to bring the hat beneath the face layer, like so. And then we're going to just drag it down a little bit. And then to make it look like it's fitting on top of his head, what we're going to do is next to the face layer, we're going to make a mask by clicking on the mask layer. And then what we want to do is come over to our polygonal lasso tool. And then we're going to make a click right about here. And then maybe one right about there. Just so we have that brown part on the top of his head enclosed. And then we're going to hit Alt Delete, making sure our mask is selected. And that should cut that out. Hit Alt Delete. Maybe a little bit lower by his eyes, I'm thinking. So we're going to repeat that. Right about there. Actually, not that low. Probably right about there, I think. Looks good. I'm liking it. Alt Delete. And then we're going to play with that hat again to bring it down a little bit. Hit V. And then we're going to tilt it just a little bit more. And then we can kind of finesse it with the up, down, right, left arrow keys if we like. All right, now let's do the top part of the hat. And we're going to keep those separate. So we'll do another layer. And then let's use our pen tool, hit P on the keyboard. So we're going to make a mark right about here. Let's make it kind of tall, but not too crazy. About here. And then another anchor point here. And I want to kind of give it a slight curve. Nothing too crazy. And to make that curve, you just drag it while you're still clicking on the mouse. And then we're going to bring that one down right about there. And then close it out. Right click, make selection, OK, and then Alt Delete. All right, now let's give it some shadows and make it look fancy. So on top of this layer, make a new layer, make sure your pen tool is selected. And what we're going to do is let's make the ribbon. So what's nice about this is we can be messy, and I'll show you a little trick. I'll make a click here, make a click there, and kind of drag it just a little bit to give it a little bit of arch. Bring it back, and then we'll make it kind of a thick ribbon. So right about there, about there. I don't like that, so hit Control Alt Z. Bring it down. Yeah, that's better. And then we're going to make selection, click OK. Click on your foreground color. And if you see it's on black right here, let's take it up just a little bit to about maybe grayish. Let's see how that looks. Click OK. Alt Delete. And then we're going to Control D to deselect. Now what you're going to do is this top piece layer, you're going to control click it, make sure that layer is selected, control click it. Now with this layer still selected, you're going to hit Control Shift I, and that's going to select everything outside of the hat because we want to get rid of these edges, and hit delete and then hit Control D. Beautiful. Very good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do something to the rim to give it some depth. All right, what we'll do is we're going to make a copy. Control J. We're going to use our pen tool, and then we're going to come here, and then come down here. Let me see if this is going to work the way I'm hoping it will. You just make like a little, kind of a half kidney bean shape there on that side, and then again on the other side. And then let's see how that looks. We're going to hit selection, feather at 0, hit delete, Control D. All right, that's not looking too shabby. So let's take the color down just a little bit, the opacity, and see what we got. All right, I'm liking that a little bit better. And then I'm thinking that the top pieces need to be beneath the brim. So make sure you select the two top pieces and just drag them down There we go. That's what we want. Beautiful. Next, we're going to make the square buckle for the hat. So let's come down here. We're going to click on the rectangular tool. And then here, we're going to stroke out the fill by hitting the X. And then for the color, let's select that yellow one right there. And then we're just going to make a little buckle right, just sort of like that. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go to maybe 4, hit enter, and then hit V for the move tool. Bring that over, and then hit Control T, and then just get that where we want it. It's hard to see it. Oh, too far. Control T again. And then, yeah, perfect. We're going to rename that buckle. All right, let's get the hat all in one layer. So let's go up to, that's the gray layer, all the way down here to this one. Hit Shift and then click, and then Control G to put that in the group. And we're going to call that one hat. So if you click on and off that one, it should be just a hat. And then let's do one for the, actually we can put the neck above the hat. And now we'll put the turkey in its own layer. So from the neck all the way up to the beat, hold Shift and click, Control G. And we're going to call this one turkey. And if you click on and off that one, you should just have the turkey. All right, now inside that turkey layer on top of beak, we're going to click add new layer, and let's make some hands. Click here, click up here and drag, click over here, drag. It's just really, it's all about the dragging. It's all about the dragging. You get it? All right. That's not looking too bad. I like it. We don't want it to be perfect. I like it to look kind of whimsical. So now we're going to select it, click OK, and we're going to color this the same color as the turkey body. So just click on his face, click OK, Alt Delete to fill that in, Control D to deselect. Now we can't see it because it's hidden behind that layer there. Okay, so now that we have the hand made, we just hit V, and then we'll just bring that hand on up. And we're going to actually put the hand on top of the layer with the hole in it, that layer there. So we're going to just drag that on up, and then put this hand right about there. Let's just slide it over a little bit. And then we're going to hit Control J. And then we'll bring this hand up and over here. We're going to hit Control T and just angle it to make it look like it's kind of grabbing onto that circle there. Just bring it up right about there. Looks good, I think. And like I said, you can always adjust it with your up and down, left and right keys. All right, we're headed to the home stretch now. So the next thing I want to do is label these hands. And it doesn't matter right or left. We'll just put hands there. All right, now let's fill that background layer in with the same color orange. So we're going to come back all the way down to this white layer. And then we're going to click on our foreground color. Just select the color here. Click OK, and then hit Alt Delete. And now this is where the magic happens. What we're going to do now is click on another layer, add new layer, and we're going to fill this layer in with black. And we're going to hit D on our keyboard, Alt Delete to fill that in. And now what we're going to do is hit B for our brush and right click, choose the soft brush. All right, what we're going to do now is select our eraser. So click E or click the eraser on the icons. And then we're going to right click to make sure our soft brush is selected. And then click off onto the panel there. And then we're just going to give it a click. Let's say right about here. And another click, and another click, another click. Sort of like that. And then what we're going to do is make this a little bit smaller and just kind of click around until it sort of looks like that. Good. Now what we're going to do is, let's see if we can add a stroke into that circle there. So what we'll do is see if we can add a stroke. We can. So we don't want it to be that thick. So on your size, let's decrease that to about 1. And we're going to select that yellow. So click the color and then just choose that yellow right there. And that'll give it some accent. And then we'll click OK. I think I want this top one to be just a tad bit darker. So let's do this. We're going to double click the effects, go to color overlay, click on the red, and then click back on the orange, but let's drag it down a little bit, right about there maybe. Yeah, I'm liking that. All right, now we need to make that turkey pop out just a bit more. I want to adjust this opacity on the shadow layer, so let's decrease that just a tad bit so it's not so overpowering. And now to make the turkey pop, what we're going to do, let's do this. All right, click on the turkey layer, make sure that that group is selected, hit Control J. When you see the copy layer, turn off the original one, right click it and hit merge group. So it merges everything together. Same thing for the hat. Select the hat group, Control J, turn off the original layer, right click, merge group. And that should be just the hat layer. Good. Now we're going to put those two together and then we're going to merge them together. Merge layers. Now it's on its own separate group. Now we can add some drop shadows to it and see how that looks. So let's do effects, drop shadow. All right, and on your drop shadow, uncheck use global light. That looks good. And we can decrease the opacity a little bit. Click OK. And then before we go on, I want to put a drop shadow on this layer as well, the orange layer with the hole in it, to make it look like it's actually like he's coming through there. So double click effects, drop shadow, and then we're going to put that on untick use global light, and then we're going to put that right about there, decrease the opacity a little bit more. And I want it to kind of come around some more. Yeah, we can make the size a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that, baby. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get to the hands. Up here, we're going to hit effects, hit drop shadow, and then we want to uncheck global light. Beautiful. I want the shadow to be right underneath the hands. That's a little strong and maybe a little big. Let's decrease the size a little bit. Let's decrease the distance. There we go. 3, And then if we want to transfer those exact settings to the other hand, hover over effects, hit Alt, and just drag it down to the other set of hands, and pow. There we go. All right, let's turn off our color layers. So let's put all this in one layer. So we're going to hold Shift and come all the way down here to this layer and hit Control G. So all of that except the background color is on its own, in its own group. Okay, now it's in its own group. We're going to come over here and let's put something like Happy Thanksgiving. Let's all right, and maybe we can do that in like a bright yellow or something. Hope I spelled everything right. We'll see in a minute. All right, double click it and let's choose the yellow on the nose, and let's make the text a little bit bigger. Maybe we can find something fun and whimsical to go with the character. There we go. I'm liking that one. Happy Thanksgiving. And if we want to spice it up a little bit to make it pop, let's do this. I got an idea. We're going to put a layer beneath that layer. We're going to come and click on our rectangular marquee tool. And we're just going to put just like a little marquee. Let's make it even space between the top and the top of the circle. And then I want to use yellow. So we're going to click the foreground color, click the beak, click OK. Now once we do this, we won't be able to see the lettering, but we're going to change the color of the font. So we're going to change the color of the font to black maybe, or maybe like the gray up here, or the brown, or how about a darker brown, or red, or black. Black is a little bit too strong. How about we do that? And then let's see if we can't make it bigger. So hit Control T. And then let's come to the middle and drag that up. And then hit V, and then just down arrow keys. That may be a little bit too big. We'll hit Control Alt Z twice to deselect. I like that. Happy Thanksgiving. And then for fun, we can also just hit Alt and Shift to drag that down to the bottom. And then same with the letters. Select the letters, hit Alt and Shift and drag that down here to the bottom. And then let's change that one to Happy Thanksgiving, Turkey. I like it. All right, and to just finish it up, let's add one more layer. And what we're going to do now is hit our B for brush, and then we're going to increase the brush size, right click to make sure it's a hard brush, click off of it. Now it's going to look strange at first, but you'll see what I'm doing in a moment. So click there, maybe click here, click there, and let's decrease the brush size to about there. Maybe one there, one here, one there, maybe one there, another one there. And then make them smaller. One there, one there. All right, now what we're going to do is just play with the blending modes and see what we like. That's kind of neat right there, right? I'm kind of liking that. And then if we decrease the opacity a little bit, so it's in the background, I'm liking that. Let's see what else we got. So that's multiply. Oh, I'm liking that even better. Soft light. And let's decrease the opacity of soft light. Beautiful, right there. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sticking with me through this tutorial. If you liked it, please hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend or family member. If you want this particular image, it will be available for download. I will leave a link in the description where you can download it. And until next time, be blessed. Peace.